Disclaimer: the following program is designed to offend, provoke, and challenge your religious sensibilities. It contains content that will likely offend anyone who holds religion sacred. This is for those with thick skin or a taste for the harsh truth. If you're easily offended or cherish your religious views, please turn off now. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. You have been warned. Welcome back to Troll the Verse, where we tear apart the Bible and look at biblical contradictions and ridiculousness. Today, we're diving into Revelation 5, a chapter that's supposed to be a grand moment, but instead reads like a never-ending church service that no one ever leaves. And just a quick note before we get started, Revelation is apocalyptic literature, basically the drug-induced ramblings of biblical texts. Interpretations vary wildly, so my take is just one colorful perspective among many. In other words, if you think I'm wrong, congrats. You're in good company. All right, so upcoming is a mysterious book only one person can open, a multi-eyed, seven-horned zombie lamb, and an excessive amount of falling down and screaming. This chapter raises more contradictions than it answers, accidentally breaks core Christian doctrines, and spends way too much time hyping up a book that never actually gets opened. And of course, heaven somehow fits 100 million angels into a throne room that may or may not be the entirety of heaven itself. Because, why not? If this is your first time here, we have playlists covering Genesis, Matthew, and Revelation, all starting at chapter 1. So if you're enjoying this breakdown, there's plenty more to dig into. Now, grab your harp, collapse like the elders do every 5 minutes, and let's get into it. And whatever you do, do not like, comment, or subscribe unless you're eager to scream praises into the void for eternity while achieving absolutely nothing. Wow, I really like this green background behind the verses. This may be the common color, to be honest. Let me know what you think in the comments. All right, so here God is holding a sealed book that no one can open or even look at. Its contents are unknown, and scholars have spent centuries guessing what it is. Some say it's a legal document, others the book of life. The Bible never explains it. What we do know is that the book does nothing. The seals do. In Revelation 6-8, Jesus starts breaking them, and each time another disaster hits the earth. Yet the book itself is never opened or read. But I have a little theory of my own about this book. Since I love drawing Mesopotamian parallels, this so-called divine book reminds me of the me from ancient Sumerian texts. If you're not familiar, the me were divine decrees, cosmic blueprints that governed everything from kingship to social order to the very fabric of existence. They weren't just rules, they were metaphysical forces that dictated how the universe functioned. And just like this book in Revelation, the me were often locked away, inaccessible to most, with only certain figures, like Enki, the trickster god of wisdom, having the ability to wield them. So is this book in Revelation some kind of control mechanism similar to the me that dictates the fate of the world? Maybe, but I don't want to get too far off track because I have a specific focus in these videos, but maybe a video for another time. Who knows? All right, so back on track because I do not want to get sucked into another search right now. So Revelation 5 makes a big deal about opening the book, yet when the seals are broken, there's no mention of anyone actually reading it. Each seal triggers an event, but the book, which is described as written on both sides, remains unread, with its content never actually revealed. The text calls it a biblion, which can refer to either a book or a scroll, but in the first century context, it would likely mean a scroll. So while this book is treated as central, its actual purpose remains unclear. Whether it was meant to be read or simply serve as a trigger to the apocalypse is never fully explained. This book is so secure that no man in heaven, on earth, or under the earth can even look at it. Meanwhile, demons, plagues, and apocalyptic destruction run wild later with no such restrictions. Then there's the issue of the 7 seals. Why 7? How dangerous is this book really? And who decided it needed 7 layers of security? And if absolutely no one but Jesus can ever open it, why have multiple layers of security at all? The passage explicitly states that no one in heaven, on earth, or under the earth can open the book or even look at it. The Greek text uses oudeus, rather than anthropos, meaning it's not just referring to men, it's an absolute exclusion of all beings, human or otherwise. That means no humans, no angels, no archangels, not even God himself. At least, not yet. So now this creates a huge problem. If absolutely no one can open it, then why can Jesus? If Jesus is able to open the book, yet the passage says no one in all creation is worthy, then does that mean Jesus isn't part of creation? That's exactly the implication. The text is deliberately setting Jesus apart from every other being in existence. So, what do we learn from this? We learn that Jesus is in a category of his own, beyond humanity, beyond angelic ranks, even distinct from God's own celestial council. And you're probably saying, troll, so what? What does that even matter? Well, if Jesus is truly not part of creation, then how could he have been a literal human being? The whole doctrine of the incarnation rests on Jesus being fully man and fully God, but this verse subtly undermines that by setting Jesus apart from all created beings. So now we're left with a contradiction. If Jesus is not part of creation, then he wasn't fully human, and the incarnation falls apart. If Jesus is part of creation, then Revelation 5:3 is wrong when it says no one is worthy to open the book. Either way, the theology here collapses on itself. The passage is trying to make Jesus seem uniquely powerful, but in doing so, it accidentally creates a mess. To escape this, apologists now say Jesus is uncreated and call it a mystery, which is just a dressed up way of saying we don't have an answer. The contradiction stands. The King James Version's translation of no man softened the issue, making it seem like only humans were excluded. Modern translations fix this, exposing the full mess for what it is. The text sets Jesus above every being, including God the Father, unintentionally elevating him over God himself. Whether taken literally or symbolically, the logic falls apart. Apologists claim Jesus is both fully human and uncreated, but that's just a contradiction dressed up as doctrine. All right, we need to move on because, as always in these videos, I got stuck on an issue and this section has become way too long. Luckily, a lot of you like this detailed crap as much as me. John starts crying a lot because no one can open the book. He doesn't just get upset, he completely loses it. Then, after all this dramatic weeping, an elder casually says, "Oh, don't cry, we actually found someone." So all of that was for nothing. The elder knew the answer the whole time and just let John spiral into an emotional crisis first. Apparently in heaven, unnecessary suffering is all part of the deal. The elder announces that the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of David, has prevailed. Sounds great, until John actually looks and sees a lamb instead. Not just any lamb, but a mutilated one, standing there like roadkill with 7 horns and 7 eyes. Christians insist this is Jesus because the lamb, as if slain, supposedly represents his crucifixion and resurrection. The 7 horns? Power. The 7 eyes? Apparently the 7 spirits of God sent forth into all the earth. But let's be the realist of the real here. This makes no sense. Where's the lion? That's what the elder promised, a lion, not a butchered lamb with extra eyeballs. Why does Jesus still look like he was killed? If this is his victorious resurrected form, why is he still walking around with mortal wounds? What's up with the 7 eyes? Were they always there, or did they crawl into his face after the resurrection? And why does no one in heaven seem remotely bothered by this horrific visual? They just keep worshiping like this is all perfectly normal. Revelation doesn't explain it. It just throws out the imagery and moves on, expecting no one to ask questions. And speaking of things that fall apart when you actually examine them, let's talk about Jesus' genealogy. If you've been following Troll the Verse, you already know I ripped apart this issue in my Matthew chapter 1 episode. For those who missed it, here are the highlights. The elder's declaration that Jesus is the root of David is supposed to confirm his rightful claim to David's throne. The problem? Jesus isn't even from the line of David. Matthew 1 traces Jesus' genealogy through Joseph, which is a massive problem since Joseph isn't his biological father, because, virgin birth. Some tried to fix this by claiming that Luke's genealogy actually follows Mary's line, but Luke 3:23 explicitly names Joseph, not Mary. And to make it worse, after David, Matthew and Luke's genealogies don't even match, meaning at least one of them is just flat out wrong. So, how do apologists handle this? They make stuff up. Since Joseph isn't biologically related to Jesus, they argue that his legal fatherhood still grants Jesus the right to David's throne. Adoption, they claim, was recognized under Jewish law, so Jesus gets to be the Messiah on a technicality. But that's not how the prophecy works. The Messiah had to be a physical descendant of David, not just an adopted one. And honestly, this is one of many reasons Jews reject this nonsense outright, because it's just factually incorrect. So what's the elder talking about? If Jesus isn't actually from David's bloodline, then calling him the root of David exposes the New Testament writer's own inconsistencies. Whether Jesus is a legal descendant or not, this premise makes the dramatic moment completely meaningless. After all the build-up, John's weeping and the introduction of a creepy seven-eyed zombie lamb and the fact that this isn't even the Messiah, Jesus finally takes the book. And then, nothing. The book remains sealed. As soon as Jesus takes the book, but still hasn't opened it, the four beasts and 24 elders immediately fall down again. This is getting predictable. Do they ever stand for more than a few minutes, or is heaven just one endless cycle of falling over and worshiping? And let's not forget, last chapter, the four beasts were told to chant holy, holy, holy forever. But now they're playing harps and singing a new song. Are they eternally chanting, or did they take a break for a musical number? Revelation contradicts itself in just a few verses. And now suddenly everyone has a harp, 24 elders, and four strange beasts, all equipped and collapsing in synchronized worship. Did they just have these ready the whole time? Why only harps, no trumpets, no drums, no variety? Then we get golden vials full of odors, the prayers of the saints. Okay, so why are prayers stored in vials? Are these literal liquid prayers or symbolic? If symbolic, why use perfume imagery? Who collects them, and what does heaven do with them? And if prayers turn into odors, do some smell better than others? This entire concept remains unexplained. After everyone grabs their harps and spills their prayer perfumes, they start singing a new song. But what's new? The lyrics simply repeat the core Christian message. Jesus is worthy because he was slain and redeemed us. Has no one ever sung of Jesus' sacrifice before, or is it just a new melody? And when they say, and hast made us unto our God, kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth, aren't they already in heaven? If every believer is to be a ruler, how would that even work? I'm not going to go back over the 24 elders issue. It was in the last episode, so we'll move on. All right, so Jesus still hasn't opened the book at this point, and the elders and beasts keep falling over, switching from eternal chanting to harp solos and a new song that isn't new. Prayers are bottled like perfume, and the 24 elders might as well be gods ruling different regions of the earth. In short, nothing happens. Jesus takes the book, and instead of progress, we get another round of worship, divine air fresheners, and a vague power structure that contradicts monotheism. If this book is so important, why stall with more musical numbers and theatrics? We still have no idea what's inside. John claims he hears 10,000 times 10,000 and thousands of angels, at least 100 million plus more. Where can they possibly all fit? Perhaps heaven is just one infinite throne room, an eternal stadium concert with no breaks. Then imagine 100 million plus voices, four beasts, and 24 elders all screaming at once. It's pure chaos. The angels declare, worthy is the Lamb that was slain to receive power and riches and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and blessing. But didn't we just have this? We already had a worship session with the elders and beasts, and now we've added 100 million more voices. Jesus is somehow receiving accolades he already had. And what's with the riches? Does heaven have a bank account or stock options for someone who already owns everything? Then we get one of the most bizarre claims. Every creature which is in heaven and on the earth and under the earth and such as are in the sea and all that are in them. Now every animal, insect, fish, and whatever's under the earth, demons, mole people, hell, suddenly worships Jesus. Are ants, jellyfish, and deep sea squid all singing praises? What about bacteria? Even Satan, technically under the earth, might join in. This over-the-top universal choir raises a key question. If everything is already worshiping Jesus, what's left for future judgment? Just in case we weren't drowning in repetitive worship, the four beasts add their signature amen, apparently their only job when not chanting holy, 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 and the elders fall down again. All right, let's recap this quickly here because it's highly ridiculous. Elders have fallen multiple times. Beasts alternate between chanting amen and harp solos. Heaven is stuck in endless worship. The book remains sealed. Seriously, what was the point of the book? An entire chapter later, it's still just sitting there, sealed. And that's Revelation 5a chapter that pretends to be important while recycling worship scenes and dragging things out. After all the build-up, the book is still sealed, leaving us with endless theatrics and no resolution. If this is a glimpse into divine glory, then heaven is just a never-ending church service where nothing actually gets done. If you thought this chapter was a mess, wait until we get to Revelation 6, because the seals finally start breaking, and surprise, it's just an excuse to unleash more disasters on Earth. As an aside note, my little content binge that I've been going on daily must end. I was on a kind of, sort of vacation from something, but now I have to go back to it. So the videos will keep coming, just don't expect them every day, maybe a few times a week, or as often as I can. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy these breakdowns. See you next time, and as always, stay skeptical.